Imagine that first time you figured out how to ride the bicycle by yourself. You didn't have to have training wheels. You didn't have to have your mom or your dad stand beside you to help push you along. Um, Now try to imagine doing that without having the aid of training wheels or a parental figure helping you. The results, if you could imagine, that would be pretty disastrous, very discouraging. You may not even want to get back up on that bike, if, you had to learn that way. So the place I work at, White's Residential and Family Services, when they have new employees, they really have a sink or swim type of culture where there's not really a training place um, involved or a process. So that is the key communication issue that I saw that I think needed to be addressed. So the three areas I wanted to address was the decision making process that they use, the phases of conflict, and their leadership communication. I think is um, also something that needs to be discussed. So, with the decision making process, I want to focus in on the effective model. So, this is something that addresses the higher needs of the organization, and in this case, particularly managers. So, in my opinion, it would be solely responsible on the administration to come up with a more efficient training program for new employees. So, with the phases of conflict that are going on here, we have to focus on the manager and the employee, or specifically the new employee conflicts that are going on. So, when reviewing a study by Overton, and he did conflicts in the medical field and then in the workplace that I read, he said that negative consequences include dysfunctional teamwork, decreased patient satisfaction, and increased employee turnover. So these are all pretty negative things that that are if you're new and you're trying to establish your base, you're going to want to know what you're doing. So when you're not able to do that, you're going to go into your job unprepared, unconfident, and really ineffective. So the leadership here that needs to be addressed would be the transactional leadership. And this is the exchange, once again, between leaders and followers, or, managers slash new employees. So the organization is hiring people to do a job. Yes, they are getting paid, but, you are not really prepared, for the nature of your work. So, yes, do the job, get paid. However, you're not going to be very comfortable doing what you do because you're underprepared. So, the things I would recommend to whites to try to address some of these issues would be in the decision making process to use the cognitive model instead of the affective model. The phases of conflict styles that were addressed, I would like to do a collaboration. And I think instead of transactional leadership, I think discursive leadership would be more appropriate. So here in the cognitive model, we are discussing the hierarchy of needs. So this is information that needs to come all the way from the bottom, so that the new employees can have their slice of the pie as far as information so they can do their job. So Laning Bennett from the COI group says this: today, 95% of employees surveyed still measure or focus on the culture of an organization. While this is clearly critical for successful organizational performance, it is not the only driver of organizational success. So one of my recommendations would be to survey new employees. This would help future employees that are training because the management would be able to figure out, what went wrong, what went right, what feedback am I getting from the people that were in the training program beforehand. So the conflict style, collaboration, this would give you a high concern for managers, high concern for new employees. The new employees would benefit because they'd be more prepared for their job, and the managers would benefit because they wouldn't have to worry about such a high turnover rate from new employees quitting so soon by not feeling they are comfortable with their position since they weren't trained. And then discursive leadership. What discursive leadership is, it's a perspective that considers the way in which leadership is socially constructed throughout interactions among organizational actors. So this would show the new employees that, hey, we are putting in a training program. So this is something that's backed up with action. It's not something that, oh, well, we're going to do this and this. You put in the policies of a training program to show people that you are concerned about the work that they'll be doing. And this will get more people involved from all areas of the company. Because, even managers really aren't trained efficiently. They're also in a secret situation. So we discussed, the decision-making process. We discussed the phases of conflict and leadership styles today. So I'd feel like if you're a new employee or a manager who has new employees, these would be some good areas to look into to create a program that works for the entire organization.